Ancestor,
ancestor,
take my hand.
Ancestor,
lead me on.
Ancestor,
let me stand.
Ancestor,
I get tired.
Ancestor,
I get weak.
I get weak.
Knows I get warm.
Ancestor,
through the storm.
Ancestor,
through the night.
Ancestor,
lead me on.
Ancestor,
through the light.
Ancestor, take my hand. Ancestors, and lead me on.
In my way grows drip. Ancestors, please linger near. When my life is almost gone, hear my cry, hear my call. Take my hand, let's not fall. Take my hand, ancestors, and lead me on. Hear my cry, hear my call. Take my hand, let's start fall. Take my hand, ancestors, and lead me on.
Familo Wosoke, Kinlek Belga. I am that which walks with you through the torrential rains of life without getting wet. I am that which walks with you through the firestorm within, yet fire cannot burn me. I am that which walks with you through the winds of transformation, yet cannot be uprooted. I am the memory whose shoulders you stand on when feet plant on earth. I am the head that came before a book. I am the you in that mirror that you look. Say my name. I am ancestor. I am a gungun. Ashe.
Mojuba, Egun, Mojuba, Egun, Mojuba, Egun, Mojuba. Hear my cry, hear my call. Take my hand, let's start fall.
Take my hand, ancestors, and lead me on.
Ancestor, you are breath, you are bridge. You carry us over tumultuous time. You who can hear and answer with quick remedy, you are ready before we ask. You who can speak through tongues of trees and fire and water, this earth cannot hold you. We pound the ground and you appear, O ancient ones. You who can make lightning strike with the flick of a skirt. You who can make tornado turn with the spin and span of hips, take us there. To the place of knowing, to the hall that leads to the doorway of you, O holy ones. You of the first light. You who know the potential of possibility pulsing in the dark, deliver us unto our gifts. You who have sunlight in your fingertips, oh touch our drums. Make us hear the rising. Make us move a steady stump. A choir of voices so majestic. Heaven hides us in a tapestry of light. Oh, we are stars, blankets of wonder. Sky bright eyes seeing the invisible, visible. You who have returned. You have turned our faces so that we see ourselves. And we have found you again in places we would have never imagined. You make our limits infinitely long, our visions clearer with eyes closed, and even there, you still stand in full color, vibrant and eager to serve. Hear my cry, hear my call, take my hand, lest I fall. Take my hand, ancestors, and lead me on. Lead me on. Sometimes the riot is a quiet one. Well, the battle is to love yourself and function in society where voices of reason are muted by anxiety, like gaining notoriety is selling your soul. So we tend to go no deeper than the shallow water level, trying to keep us overhead in the face of all the slurs and the stares. Mentally frozen, paralyzed by fear of failure and success. So we lock, stock, barrel, running while it's crumbling. All these towers and that babbling, but the baby's in the bath and the stash under the bed on my head, spinning from the circles and the puppets and the strings that they pull. Then we move. Reactionary warfare never produces winners on the field. Feeble and foolish. What tools and what weapons are we using? We need some new ones. Real revolution. It's real solutions. Well, we've taken on the ways of the ones who conquer with their guns and religion and division. Got my inner me looking like my enemy. Real revolution. Well, my inner me really a mirror for the galaxy. New time, brand new paradigms, new contracts to sign. They thought that this would all be televised, though it's happening right before our very eyes. It's on the inside, with their guns cocked. When that rock drops, standing on the rooftop, praying that the mountaintop can live inside the valley. People tell me the reward is somewhere off in heaven, like heaven's only in the sky, like chariots are swinging, like God is something separate from yourself, from your wealth, from your lover, from your neighbor. Oh, your savior is coming in your own name, coming with the face the same. Real revolution. It's real solutions. Where we've taken on the ways of the ones who conquer with their guns and religion and division. Got my inner me looking like my enemy. Real revolution. Where my enemy is really a mirror for the galaxy. And so we lock, stock, barrel, running while it's crumbling. All these towers and they're babbling, but the baby's in the bath and the stash under the bed. Oh, my head spinning from the circles and the puppets and the strings they pull. Then we move. Reactionary warfare never produces winners on the field. Feeble and foolish. What tools and what weapons are we using? We need some new ones. It's real revolution. Producing real solutions. Grandmama used to pray, oh Lord, please save them from the evil snares and all the dangers that entangle. Yea, though they walking through the valley of the shadows, just prepare and make them fit for every battle. Because I know they bound to come, and I know they bound to fall, but in your bounty, Lord, preserve their beautiful. Right, we still surviving off of grandma's prayers, surrounded by the jungle and the lion's den. Tread light, cause these traps isn't conspicuous. They hide right in plain sight, thinking we don't see them when they linger. Look right beneath the surface, then leave a trail of corpses. Crisis, prices, your life a disposable commodity. Like living in a fantasy, conditioned to believe that the system even cares. Whether selling CDs or walking or driving or reading, look, they don't even need a reason. It's just you breathing and being black. When it's such a pretty fall, it don't seem like we falling at all, at all. It's just a GMO dream, where things are never really what they seem. Please cue the violins, tell them just to play me something pretty, cause this gritty city got me screaming bloody murder. So they got me screaming. This gritty city got me on some. Look, get your hand up on my pocket. Distraction, so lazy they use the same tactics. Like condom with some trinkets, just don't let them get to thinking. That light bulb gets a blinking. You know niggas and ideas. Oh dear, my dear, you may not know me, but I know you very well. Foresight, they say hindsight is 2020. Well, tell me something, we gotta see that history is on repeat. And maybe it takes a beat and a melody to speak a little louder than the message in the clouds or the essence in the air. I swear, my God is just so clear that a system driven by fear can never give us nothing but more of the same things. Oh, when it's such a pretty fall, it don't seem like we falling at all. It's just a GMO dream, where things are never really what they seem. Please cue the violins, tell them just to play me something pretty, cause this gritty city got me screaming. It's murder. got me screaming, got me. This gritty city got me on song.
What's happening, good people? It's RSTV. You know what time it is. It's wonderful to have you all out here today. First and foremost, let me say that the music is courtesy of my sister, Sunny Patterson. Make sure you support Sunny Patterson. It's SUNNIPATTERSON, all 3 tracks. We appreciate your patience. Definitely appreciate your patience. Welcome to Black Power Media. Welcome to Black Power Media. I got some good news and some bad news, but I'm gonna start with the good news first. The good news is we are here today, all of us checking this out. We are live on arrival, and it's a great time to be African. If you're not African, it's a great time to support African people. Now, with that being said, I received a message from Dr. Cornel West's wife. Yesterday, he was at New York Climate Week 2023, and fortunately, he's at a rally protest all day, and his vocal cords, he has to rest his vocal cords. So we had a little bit of an issue today. We're planning on rescheduling. I know some of you have been patiently waiting, and we are grateful for that. We've had Dr. Cornell on for probably about 6-7 shows in the past. If you've missed that, make sure you tap in. We actually had a special guest that I wanted to bring on with Dr. Cornel West, a particular hip hop artist. I'm not going to say his name because we plan on bringing him back as well. But, definitely, again, Dr. West, we will be rescheduling this particular interview. We ask that you continue to support our efforts here at Black Power Media. If you missed our show earlier this morning, make sure you go back and check out the piece I did with the sisters from Daughters of the Whirlwind. In fact, they have a episode that will be planned tonight as well at 7 p.m. Again, we appreciate it. Now, one of the things I'm just going to let you all know, let the proverbial cat out the bag. Part of the reason that I wanted to bring Dr. West on today was to not necessarily talk about the election, because I know that so many times we keep hearing about, what he do as president and all that good stuff. That's grand. For me, what I would like to know is, as an organizer, how he would be utilizing his voice to continue to push our plight, to talk about what's going on the continent, because we know it's a lot going on in Africa, how he supports and how he looks at that particular piece. But also would love to know, some of your thoughts, because oftentimes we're good with criticism. We're good with talking about what someone hasn't done, so on and so forth. I don't see Dr. West as a politician. I see him as a committed African who has been a part of our movement, our people's struggle for at least 5 decades. Now, does that mean that, I'm endorsing him as a candidate? No, that doesn't mean I'm endorsing him as a candidate. It simply means that as African people, we have to be very creative. As organizers, we have to be creative in our efforts and attempts. Okay, so I think that for us all, when we're talking about liberation, we have to ask ourselves, what have we done for our movement lately? And while we are criticizing others and their work, so on and so forth, I'm hoping that those of us who have voices to critique also have voices to build and to spread whatever particular propaganda that we can. Right now, electoral politics is a tool that many look at as the solution. Some of us, like myself, I'm not into electoral politics, but I support certain candidates in regards to, their efforts. To me, I hear people talk about all the time, My ancestors died for our right to vote, so on and so forth. That's not my particular thing. I say our ancestors died for our right to self-determination. And that's more important than any ballot. That's more important than any particular candidate. We're clear that when it comes to American politics, there is a menu that you have to stick to, regardless of what your intentions are. If you work at McDonald's and you happen to be a master chef, when you get into that particular position, it doesn't matter that you graduated from Cordon Bleu. It doesn't matter that you can make some of the finest cuisines on the planet. That's not what it's about. It's about sticking to the script. It's about sticking to the menu. And that's what you have to do when it comes to, U.S. politics, because U.S. politics is all about domination. It's about domination. It's about destruction. It's about death. It's about imperialism. Now, is that me saying, you shouldn't vote? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying that a tool might not be the end all means. But if you are someone like a Cornel West or like our sister Claudia De La Cruz or others who have voices, utilizing our voices to get us a little bit further is the way to go. It's the move. We have to come from all angles. I posted a quote by Cabral yesterday, and I basically what Cabral was talking about was how the most, and I'm paraphrasing, the most important person, is not necessarily the man with the gun, but it's the man with the tool. And we talk about the man with the tool, and we had some people talking about, well, a farmer can't defend himself. If you say that, then clearly, you have no skin in the game. Because when it comes to revolution and when it comes to movement, a machete can be used to clear the land, or can be used to clear situations altogether. I'm going to pause for a second. We may have a special guest coming up right now. So hold on one second. I'm going to be right with y'all. You're checking out RSTV. Don't go nowhere. Be right with you in a minute. Peace, back again. Yes, it looks like we have a special guest coming up. And this particular brother, he's going to talk about politics and some other things. But getting back to my point, our people's movement, it's necessary. You know what I mean? Us getting involved, the people being involved in liberation is very important. I think that oftentimes we get confused and we think that it's a one-way situation, and we think that it's only one road leading to our liberation, or one road that leads to freedom, or to to our advancement. And I think that we have to dispel that myth. I think that it's important for us to look at our people as a whole, and we say, well, what is it that this person can offer? What can they bring to the table? Can we get us further? Can these individuals get us further to towards victory? Or do we just move the goalposts? Do we just say, you know what? I don't like how this person talks or how this person thinks or whatever, so I'm just going to throw away the baby with the bathwater. Me, I consider myself an organizer. I've been organizing for over 3 decades, literally. And in that time, I learned the importance of the tool. And when it comes to tool, I mean, it can be on any particular level. One of the tools I like to use is what we call creative resistance. And what I mean by creative resistance, it is uh, a means to it means the victory by using and utilizing unorthodox tools. There's a brother that I've known for some years. He's a hip hop artist. You know, he's been involved in Atlanta politics for quite some time, and you know, he's keeping it real, keeping it 100. He's somewhat controversial in certain circles, just like I'm somewhat controversial in some circles. But this brother right here, he's a brother that whenever I've called on him, he supported our movement, whether it's with political prisoners. He supported our movement, supported some of the organizations that exist right here on this platform by putting his money where his mouth is. You understand what I'm saying? But oftentimes he doesn't get too much credit because of the fact that, hey man, you know, the brother is, for all practical purposes, an ambassador. Now, he's a brother I respect. Now, him and we don't necessarily agree with everything politically, but at the same time, we know that the heart is in the right place. I want to bring to the platform someone that I called on to join me along with Dr. Cornell West. And I reached out to him this morning. I said, hey, bro, listen, I know I told you Cornell will be coming through, but he ain't feeling too well, whatever, so on and so forth. And if you down to still come on, come on. He just hit me up, asked me for a link. This brother right here, you know him, the man, the myth, the legend. Michael Render, how you doing today, brother?
Hey, good morning, good afternoon. How you? It's rapper morning. How you doing, brother?
It's rapper morning.
It's rapper morning. We had 4 straight shows in New York, sold out, did well, came home, did Jock's morning show this morning, and now here. So I'm proud to be here, glad to be here, and love and respect you immensely.
No doubt, man. Love and respect back at you, man. I am definitely happy that you can make it. You've been on Riot Starter TV before, you know what I mean? Live in the studio a few years ago. You supported several individuals that are on this platform. You know, if they admit it or not, then that's, you know, ain't got nothing to do with anything. There's been, you know, you've been hailed as a hero in Atlanta and in other places. You know, folks who don't necessarily know the politics of Atlanta may look at it differently.
That's fine.
Yeah. So I wanted to invite you on. First of all, congrats on the new album. The new album is dope.
Thank you. We just dropped the deluxe edition with 4 new records. One of them titled Maynard. You know, I was inspired by the legacy of Maynard Jackson and how Atlantans see him, and I'm very proud of it. One called Get Some Money, because that's what my granddaddy told me to do when you have a bunch of children, get a wife, you know. Another one called Act Up with Young Nudie, and one called Yes, which we have a video for. So I'm very proud of the work. I'm very proud that Black men and the women who love them have received the work well. And I just want to thank Atlanta for spearheading, making this album something special.
No doubt. Well, man, you know, congrats again on it. You know, and I appreciate, again, throughout the years, you know, we've appeared on different platforms. You invited us on CNN at your barbershop, so on and so forth. Although, again, like I said, you know, yourself and folks like, you know, our brother Shelly Winter, shout out to him.
Right.
You know, he a wild motherfucker, but you know what I'm saying?
He is.
We know his heart is in the right place. I wanted to bring you on today because you know, I know you're touring and all that. And and I feel like I'm clear about your heart, right? Now, I think that we all have different ways of looking at things. So for you, coming up in Atlanta, what does you know, what does Atlanta mean to you, and how does it fare politically compared to other places that that you've traveled and know some of your comrades?
Well, I mean, I've been around the world, and I've seen Black people in almost every political and socioeconomic system. You know, and I don't when I say I've been around the world, I don't mean I took a cruise to the Caribbean and came home, or took a flight to Mexico or party. You know, I've been most struck over the past summer with going to Scotland and Ireland. You know, I didn't realize Frederick Douglass. I went to Frederick Douglass High School. I didn't realize how big of an impact he made in Ireland. I didn't realize that there would be my wife would be in a cab with Scotsmen, and they would say, "I don't believe in God, but I believe in Malcolm X, and I believe in Martin and Mandela." And I didn't know I'd be standing on the streets of Scotland talking about Chris Hani, and what would have happened had he not been assassinated. So I've seen us in very pretty much every system, socialist, communist, and capitalist, and I've seen us on the bottom of every system. I've not seen a system in which Africans or those descendants of Africans have been well or on top or the front runners in Western nations or others. So, my view of Atlanta is, although, imperfect, I have found more opportunity here in terms of creating confident Black children that are competent to do things than probably anywhere else in the world. And that's not to say other places in the world aren't as. For me, what I've seen is that this has been fertile ground to grow confident, competent children. I grew up in the exact same neighborhood as Cynthia and Billy McKinney. I grew up in the exact same neighborhood as, economic dominant families like the Russell family. And I grew up understanding that all my heroes and villains look like me. So Black people didn't all think alike. Black people didn't all have the same plan to get to freedom. But even watching two people who were diametrically opposed on some subjects, like my grandparents, my grandfather thought desegregation was the worst thing that ever happened to us. My grandmother's marched right along the SCLC, was a member and fought for it. So, what I've just discovered is just that Black people are just regular human beings, just like everybody else. We have our faults, but if you grow competent and confident Black children, you can nudge our way toward freedom, in my opinion, a little further. So I'm thankful for the community and what they poured into me at Kai Heights Elementary, Frederick Douglass High School, later Morehouse. I thank the Lord every day that I've met people along the way, such as yourself, that have encouraged me to be more radical in my thinking. And I also thank people, and thank God I know people like Andy Young, who taught me to be, just politically expedient and understand that sometimes, what I thought should be happening now is not going to happen now. So what's the best you can do with what you have now? So, I'm just a regular Black man trying to figure it out. And somewhere along the way, my singing and dancing led to me traveling and seeing the world, making money, supporting my family. But it's allowed me to help leverage and support my community in a way that a lot of people who sing and dance don't.
No doubt, no doubt, and I appreciate that answer. One of the things that I think that that's a truism, but something that's hard to crack is the thing about Atlanta being a civil rights town, right? Now, and I say that that's not a diss towards that, but I'm just saying
Oh no, I don't think it's dissing. I just know Atlanta.
Right.
Atlanta's kind of particular about his brand of civil rights. There's a young man named Martin King.
Right
and he wanted to go really radical. They told him, man, you take your radical ass to Alabama, and you take that to Birmingham. We ain't. So I understand what you're saying. It's a conundrum sometimes, but yeah,
yes.
but at its base, I believe it is a civil rights town.
Yeah. Indeed, because even when you talk about Martin, I mean,
yeah,
when you look at some of the most significant things that happened outside of Atlanta.
Yeah,
you know what
absolutely.
I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I mean, shit, they didn't even kill him in Atlanta. That's how you know what I'm saying. So you talk about the major movements and so on and so forth. But I know that you came up as a student of a number of different quote unquote activists, and I think that when I from being around you and having a somewhat of an understanding, I think our movements and how we relate sort of reminds me of the Black Power movement meets the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that if you're not familiar with all the intricacies, if you're not familiar with the politics of a certain situation and landscape, then you will peg it and pin it a certain way. You'll say, okay, boom, well, this means that.
Yeah.
But I think that one of the errors that we make is that we don't sometimes understand that that is more than one way.
Yeah.
And
There are
not
many.
just, yeah.
I always say there are many paths to freedom. You know, everybody ain't gonna be on the same bus. Everybody ain't gonna do it the same way. But absolutely, I think there's more. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah.
No, it's
Yeah,
all
exactly.
good. It's all good. So my question for you, right? Coming up from this particular angle, I want to ask you because just keeping it funky, it ain't like it's no no mystery and shit. You've caught
Yeah.
flack from different folks in regards
Yeah.
to different decisions that you made, right?
Yeah.
Meeting with Kemp and so on and so forth.
Absolutely.
And I know that I don't know if you had other interviews that addressed those particular issues or whatever.
Yeah.
With different individuals, but I want to know, like, from your mouth right here on RSTV,
Yeah.
how do you view yourself? Because we know that you're an artist, right?
Yeah. I said I view myself as the baddest nigga in the world. That's how every black man ought to view himself. But and I am I just view myself as a man raised on the west side of Atlanta, which is, if you're not from Atlanta, it's an all black enclave. I grew up, with two diametrically opposed, sometimes politically thinking people in my grandparents. I grew up in a neighborhood that had everything in it, from people who were vehemently Democrat and what they thought was progressive, and people who were total to the right. So I grew up in a neighborhood where you could walk out the door, you could see Herman Cain on your right, or you could see Vernon Jordan on your left. I grew up in a neighborhood that supported people, that like Stokely Carmichael. And I grew up with people who thought that the only way was the SCLC, or Brother Kwame Ture rather than Stokely Carmichael. So I grew up in a neighborhood between a lot of black people who all understood we black. We may not agree with the methodology at times, but we all in this together, pushing forward so the children after us have a better opportunity and an easier opportunity at freedom. And I try to remain like water. When it was time to protest Brother Troy Davis being killed, I didn't care what organization you belong to. I looked around and saw who I saw down there. I saw you on the ground there. I was on the ground there. Big Boy called me and had me on the ground there. And so for me, man, I just I just view myself as a black man who's going to do all I can, and because my philosophy really is, if we all do a little, no one has to do a lot. No one has to be burdened with doing it all. If we all take some small part in our freedom and emancipation, and ultimately in black people just being a free thinking people individually and group of people that can be autonomous and self-moving and motivated. So I don't think I don't think that I'm radically different from a lot of black men who just want to see better for the generations that come after them. Some people have agreed with the things I've done, and some people haven't, and that's just called being a man, and that's fine by me. I don't mind those who agree or disagree, because I'm doing what I'm doing out of sincere space, and not just, oh, I did it out of my heart. I've had a certain amount of experience as an organizer. Before I was ever a rapper, I was an organizer. Before I ever thought I could, spit bars and drive big cars, I was an organizer, making sure that we didn't get put behind bars for BS reasons, and that kids in Atlanta had an opportunity to have voice in local policy. So, I've been a man maturing my entire life, trying to figure out a better way to just make sure that we had fertile ground to be whatever we wanted to be.
No doubt, no doubt. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I invited you on today, of course. You've always been welcome, of course, but I think that
I appreciate you.
No doubt, no doubt. Today I'm like, okay, we're gonna have Cornell on. Who else can I bring on to bring about some controversy?
I'm still with you. I'm just getting a plug.
No
So I
doubt.
don't want my phone to die on us, but I'm still with you guys.
No doubt, no doubt. So I was like, who can I get to bring on to shake it up a little bit? We know that of course, you were a strong supporter of Bernie Sanders, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of his campaign, absolutely. And the reason I say that is because I think sometimes in America we get so caught up on the personality or the person that they don't understand what I was supporting, you know, beyond Sanders, and I know I'm still and consider the old man a friend. What I was supporting was the policy, because I felt like it gave us a slightly better opportunity than the policies of his of the people that were opposing.
Right. So I mean, and that's cool. So I take it that you feel that electoral politics is a tool that can be used for liberation. Is that correct? Or am I putting words?
Absolutely, just as sure as I voted for Cynthia and her daddy Billy, absolutely, or campaigned for them, absolutely. I don't think it's the end all. I don't think it's going to perfectly fix all our problems, but I think if you in a gunfight and all of you got is a knife, you better get that blade to swinging.
No doubt. So Cornell's running. What's your thoughts on that? What?
Man, I like seeing I'll tell you what I thought. My son, my oldest son, who's 29 years old, hit me last night and saying that he liked Cornell. Sorry, I had to go put my rap jersey on. I realized I still look sleepy. But I hit him. I said Cornell's a good man. He has good ideas and good in terms of policy and perspective. He approaches it like a non-politician. I don't know if he has a chance of winning, but what I do know is when men like he are involved, that it has to change the conversation of the people who may stand a stronger chance of winning. If Cornel West is involved, you have to start talking about human dignity. You have to start talking about what's fair. You have to start talking about what people need beyond, the bureaucracy of political policy and that being expedited. And I like the fact that he's in it. Now, do I think he has a chance of beating the behemoths that are on either side? I don't know, but what I do know is that I like it a lot better when someone I trust is asking questions and giving their thoughts and ideas. And even beyond Cornell, with the Kennedy that's in it, it's good to see someone who's seen as a member of the American oligarchy, kind of saying, "Hey, I don't agree with this. Let me insert myself," because it forces those candidates who may have stronger pollings to have different conversations. I think that if Sanders was not in the race years ago, you wouldn't have Amazon workers fighting for unions. You wouldn't have it in Alabama. Not only that fighting for unions, but the press had to cover it. You wouldn't have that brother who's from New Jersey who got the unions. I think it was UPS or Amazon. It was Amazon up in New York. So I think that you wouldn't have $15 an hour minimum wage popping up, because these are all things that he pushed for. And even though they didn't elect him, this still had to become a part of the larger conversation. So I think Cornel West is terribly important to the political landscape, because he brings unorthodox methodology and he brings up subjects and matters that people will not be talking about had he not been there.
No doubt. I want to and I appreciate that as well. I want to ask you, because there's no way I can get around the local politics of Atlanta.
Yeah,
we know that over the years it's been a lot going on. I remember you called me right after the situation with our brother at the Wendy's. When
the brother was killed by the police officers, he was resisting and they shot him while running.
No doubt. That was the the narrative, of course, and of course, we ain't mad at him for resisting, right? And
no, I'm not mad. I just just saying that the brother didn't want to go back to jail. The brother had just got out. I wouldn't want to go back to jail either. God bless the dead. I you know what I mean. I hate that situation. I truly hated that. I don't think we special. I don't think we radically different as a city. I definitely don't think we're a utopia. But that situation it still kills me to this day. I wish them cops would have left him alone and let that brother just be asleep in his car. I hated the decision got made, to engage him. I hated that brother didn't feel confident if he got locked up that night that he'd make bond and could get back out because he had been just released only weeks earlier. I just hated everything about it. I hate that we have a system that puts us as Black men in such perpetual fear of being jailed. Trump didn't have no problem going to Rice Street. He knew he was getting out in 20 minutes.
That's right.
But Thug and Lucci still begging for a bond, and that just breaks my heart. So nothing about it was good, And I oftentimes I call you just because not that I don't know what to do, but I don't know what we should do as a people, because people pivot and look at me, and people don't You know, a lot of times when they don't listen as much as I say it, I'm listening to people like Kalonji. You know, I'm asking him what's going on and what we should be doing. And I really wish that, or ultimately what I wish is to leverage whatever celebrity or perception that people have of me to the people like you who do the work every day. You know, a lot of people are pundits. They come on and they talk. And I ain't doing them but never see. All I ever see them doing is talking. You know,
Right.
I respect you because what I've seen you do is work. You know, I've seen you do the work for so many years. I've seen you stand with the people so many times. I've seen you when people abandoned Cynthia McKinney, no one, all her political people that had been next to her who championed her as a political star were gone. And I looked at the press conference and there you were. You know,
Right.
there you were. So you are a person who I trust, a blind trust. You know, if Kalonji's talking to me, I'm listening. And a lot of people can't get that out of me because I met you working. I didn't meet these other folks working. I just met them on the screen. You know.
No doubt, no doubt. Nah, and I respect that, and I respect your efforts. Like I said, I've been knowing you for quite some time, and unfortunately, a lot of what gets pushed is, it's media,
Yeah,
and it's whatever comes across the screen, like you said.
yeah,
So the thing is, um, my grandmother used to say that they make pencil with erasers because people make mistakes, right?
yeah,
So
absolutely.
and sometimes some aren't mistakes, some of it might be decisions, whatever the case is, right?
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you as well, man, like with that in mind, you mentioned uh Young Thug and Lucci and folks like that, and you have you got Trump, you have the 61 folks who have been indicted, and all of this is by the same particular DA. You know,
Who
what's
I supported. I was on her transition team and supported her election versus the old guy, Paul Howard. So just total transparency is Atlanta is a conundrum politically.
so what's your thoughts on that now, man? Do you regret that support or what's
No, no, I don't regret because if you regret it, you forget Paul Howard. You know,
right? Right.
so it's just Paul wasn't no joke. He'll nail you to the cross. So
It was like
um
Trump and Biden. It's,
yeah
it's different forms of white supremacy. It's just
yeah
how you want it. You want it
what
raw, like what I'm
what
saying.
I think that what I understand is that politicians are going to do what's politically expedient, and the public in Atlanta, the working class and the middle class in Atlanta, um, are going to politically surprise you in who they support and what they support. I disagree with prosecuting teachers when Paul Howard prosecuted teachers. Um, I agreed with the prosecution of those policemen that killed Katherine Johnson. But I was shocked when Paul Howard came to my house to ask for my support, and told me that he couldn't assure me that those policemen ever made it to jail. And if he got elected again, he would assure me that they would. And I said, why haven't you tried to assure us already by
Right.
letting me know them white boys in jail? It was shocking to hear that. So politicians are people who work for us. And if we don't like the job they're doing, we should make sure every 2 to 4 years we run politicians or people to be politicians that we know and trust. Atlanta should be so radical in some parts that Cynthia McKinney couldn't lose a seat. And
Right.
yet we aren't. So at some point, the comfort here has the people here satisfied enough that they, like anybody else, kind of keep reelecting the same person or the same types of people. And that's when you get into, who's the lesser of two evils? I don't know ultimately the answer to all our problems. What I do know is if we stay organizing on a local level like my grandmother did and like you do now, if we stay vehement about which prosecutors and judges we elect, we may get better results. And we're not a well-educated proletariat. And that's the way politicians like it. Politicians don't like for the proletariat to have too much education or too many opinions because they don't want the system that they've learned how to manipulate to start to work against them because it works for them already. I think that we have an oligarchy in this country, I think there's some semblance of an oligarchy in Atlanta in terms of who gets elected, how long they're elected. When you think of it, Atlanta, how would Atlanta been different? I communicate with and have built a relationship with Bill Campbell, for instance. But how would Atlanta have been different if Marvin Arrington Sr. would have been mayor of this city? How would the Bluff have been represented? Would the Bluff have gotten funds before the Falcons and the Hawks started to revamp themselves? Would kids, if Abel Mabel was still in office, would kids in the Bluff have a better chance at education? And I think that it's easier to point at a rapper sometimes and say, well, you did this or you met with this person, I'm angry with you, than it is to make sure that Abel Mabel gets a seat back, to make sure that Cynthia McKinney doesn't have to live in Sri Lanka and that she can be here in Atlanta affecting local politics. So I think that none of us are perfect. None of us know the perfect way. And sometimes, like my grandmother used to say, you do your best. And I have done my best and I'll continue to do my best. There are going to be things that you and I agree on and things we don't, but you never going to look to your right or your left and need help and not see me. You know, right. I'm gonna try my best to make sure that a brother that I know is trying to create systemic change. When I remember when we went out for brother I'm sorry, I just woke up, but brother H. Rap Brown and this Muslim name, but Imam Jamil. Yeah, so Jamil Amin, brother Imam Jamil Amin. I mean, I remember I got the call, T.I. got the call, and a few other people got the call. When we got out to that park, I seen people of Arabian descent. I seen people, Muslims from all over the world, a plethora of people. I saw a lot of black folks from Atlanta. I saw me and T.I. out there, and I saw Trey the Truth came out there. My brother New Face was out there. I saw the hip hop community represented by us out there, but I didn't see a big enough community of just regular working class and middle class black folks, right? Yeah. Even with Andy Young writing the article saying free Imam Jamil Al-Amin. Even with Andy Young, a former mayor, Andy Young has been accused of being accused of what they used to say about Andy. He never met a white guy he ain't like, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. But here he is with one of the most radical opinions I've ever heard in terms of freeing this man. And this is after 2 Fulton County officers were killed. Those officers was black. So you had members of the black community like never free him. You had members of the black community like free him. This city's it's a weird space in that, you know, you never know who's going to fall on what side of the coin. But there I was in that park, and a lot of my critics were not. Right. And I never forgot that. And you didn't have nothing else to do, my critics, because I watch what you're doing. You don't do nothing but come on here and yell about who ain't doing something, and then we don't see you there. So, you know, I try my best to be there when called upon. I'm still trying my best to fight for and yell loud for Imam Jamil Al-Amin. As his organization, you know, they keep me in contact and keep me updated. But I just try my best, man, because, you know, I remember listening to a Huey quote, and he says, you know, the leader doesn't decide. You know, the committee doesn't decide. The people decide when it's time, when it's going. And I'm ready for my people to stop some of the infighting and fussing and just decide to take some steps together. What steps can we take together and be in solidarity with? We can take the step of free Imam Jamil Al-Amin together. You know, when it came time to make noise about Mutulu Shakur, I had been rapping about it, making noise my whole life. I actually left it in the intro song of my new album, Michael, the deluxe just dropped. I said, you know, Obama, when I said, because it was in his last year's presidency, I was saying free him. Finally, the brother got free, man, lived his last months amongst his family. And I think if we would have yelled louder, he would have been home sooner. But, you know, I remember when the money went up on Asada, I raised hell all I could. And then some rooms I'm raising hell. I'm the only person that raising hell. When the gang legislation came down, if I didn't have the relationship with Governor Kemp I couldn't have called him. Now I was unsuccessful in getting him not to sign it, but I got the seating with him and his lawyers, the black brothers that's on his staff. I said, hey man, we can't do this. If you do this, you lining up young boys who's 17, 18 years old, you lining them up for prison. You wouldn't line up a young girl who'd been introduced to prostitution for recruiting other young girls because you know she's been trained, she's been brainwashed. I pitched it after that meeting. That brother say, man, he said, brother, you couldn't have explained it any better. He had been trying to get them to understand that too. Now we lost the war on that because people want to see people go to jail for crime. But I remember telling the governor, hey, I couldn't win you over to see that this thing my way. So just understand I'm going for prosecutors next. You know, I have to tell Fonnie the same thing. I'm going to be saying the same thing to Judge Asha Jackson, who created the Pinnacle program that helps people avoid situations like that. But the flip side of it is, if I had not pushed things like trades on the governors, would he have brought back the Hope Scholarship, which allows our boys, because a lot of our boys aren't going to college. A lot of our boys aren't even going to trade school. They're being convinced to do stuff like that. And finally, we have the Hope Scholarship back. So a boy who's coming out of Atlanta Public School who can have a C plus or a B grade average, he can get some partial or full scholarship to learn how to be a plumber, be a carpenter, be an electrician. And I say those things because those are the things like the organization I support, like Georgia Youth Bill. These are the children, once they become young men and women and have this, that are higher. You know what I mean? So I do my best. I try my best. And I think that once we as a Black people have certain things that we agree on and step forward in true solidarity on, we can get some more progress versus arguing who's right, who's wrong, who's Uncle Tom, who's the Chicken George, or who's Kunta versus who's Chaka. I wish to see us. I wish to see us just solve some solvable things. And some of the solvable things we can do in terms of political expediency is running people who we know are radical enough to push the line for us. Maynard, to some people, was just a light-skinned brother who had never had much discomfort in his life. But his radical idea of making sure that 29 to 30% of your company had to be involved in or owned by a Black person, it created an economic swelling that created neighborhoods on the west side that had better schools, that created, T.I. the Trapper, man, but that man know more big words than a dictionary and a thesaurus. That's a direct reflection of the schools that he attended and were led by. If it wasn't for Dr. Samuel Hill, who was making Georgia, went to Morris Brown, he understood these little thuggish, rugged bones boys he was dealing with, would we have had the quality of education? So I want us to be able to produce, again, competent, confident children that can. So whoever's doing that, I'm on board with you. If we can agree on some stuff, we cannot agree on other stuff, but I'm still going to wake up a nigga in the morning. I'm still going to wake up Black as I can be. I still get scared when blue lights behind me. And I would like to leave a world that's a little better for the kids that look like us after I'm gone.
No doubt. I know you don't have much time. I'm going to ask you a couple more questions. Definitely appreciate you coming on last minute and whatnot. Again, I know it's, certain folks ain't going to like it. Some people don't like that you even on this show, and I don't really give a fuck about that because it's my show. That's number one. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really, I interview who I want to, and whoever don't like it, then shit, sorry. But I want to ask you, we definitely got to deal with this whole Cop City thing because Cop City.
I was going to say people have said I've been silent on it. Well, I just didn't want to talk to y'all. Kalonji is someone I know and trust, and he's someone I'll speak. So I'll give my probably first and final statement. They didn't put $100 million into this, and part of war is knowing what you have the war chest for and what you do not. My first job is to take care of my children, my wife, because I've given my responsibility to God to them by saying, hey, I want this woman, I want these children, I want this. And my grandfather say, my job is to take care of y'all. And I have to take care of them. And in taking care of them, what I've understood is I can't chase every fight. I can't chase every fight. When I see a $100 million project coming down and then get passed, I know that there's not much I can do as the one radical rapper, right? But what I do know is there's always a chink in the armor. There's always an addition to, there's always something I can do. We had at one time, and I think it probably after Kasim, it got weak, but there was a woman named Alice Johnson. There was a white woman who was a mentor of mine who introduced me to Reverend James Orange, who was a confidant and an organizer with Dr. King. Introduced me to Atlanta has a civilian board that oversaw the police officers. I'm forgetting the exact name now, but I got another writer hooked up with them. They need to be stronger. They once were stronger. They could bring cops up for review. They could raise hell. They could punish. We need to, because I just frankly, just my only statement is I don't think we're going to stop Cop City. I don't think once $100 million is in play, I don't think we're going to shut it down unless Atlantans. Now, if you got Atlantans, you got Black folks from Atlanta, DeKalb, coming up from Macon, Columbus. If you got them standing in front of, but that's not what I've seen. Not to say there aren't Black folks on the scene, but if it looked like the Rodney King riots, I would say, okay, we stand a chance. But that's not what it looks like now. And the average everyday working class Black person I meet in Atlanta, that's not the first question they're asking me. But what I honestly think is that we should be fighting like hell to make sure that as this training center comes for policemen, for EMT, for fire department, our fire department happens to be majority Black, interestingly enough, and their training facility is a death trap right now. They need to train somewhere better. But if this is coming and we don't have a choice, and it seems as we don't have a choice, it seems like we've come in, and I've seen the efforts that people are putting up by getting it on the ballot, trying to get it on the ballot through signatures. I'm not against any of those efforts, but I've seen how this city works, and knowing Atlanta, I don't think it's going to be stopped. But what can we do? What can we amend? What can we attach? And I think that Citizens Review Board, that I think that we need to, in Atlanta, set it up so that Katherine Johnson can't happen again. I think we need to set it up so that brother, that Wendy's, God bless his soul, that doesn't have to happen, because the fear. What was my brother's name again?
Rayshard Brooks.
Yeah, Rayshard. I think that with Rayshard, with Katherine, that ultimately the legacy that we could do in Atlanta that's really doable is getting that board of people who not former police officers, not former politicians, but are just regular everyday citizens to have some power and autonomy over how police use tactics. And I think that that's doable because it's been done before. But in terms of Cop City, it's a juggernaut, and no matter what I've seen done from the organizers community, and many of those organizers I've known, I love, support. Some I don't know, love, and support, and they don't know, love, and support me, and that's fine. We'll eat at a different Golden Corral. But I would like to see a brother like Kalaji over a Citizens Review Board. I would like to see radicalized people on that board, because once $100 million in the play, it's just hard to stop things economically in this system. So, we'll see. But I'm in solidarity with those that want to push the line as far as they can. That's fine. I think what I've decided is that the line that I'm going to push, the one that I think is possible, and the one I think is possible is in having, in some way, citizens empowered to press and the tactics, the training, and the policy that police are given in this city and every city. So
I'm gonna, and I heard what you said, and I appreciate your honesty, because of the fact that that's what I like to bring, and for folks who's checking it out, I like to bring people on to hear what they have to say, because oftentimes, I'm not speaking for you, I'm not speaking for Daruba, I'm not speaking for anyone. You know what I'm saying? My position is like, okay, well, what do the people have to say? You know what I'm saying? What is your response? So I want to ask you, and this is a little bit of a press.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. What do you, and I heard what you saying on that, is backed by corporations. We know that nobody can deny that it is $100 million, and we know these corporations are ruthless, because we know that they're going to do whatever it takes, from the murder of Tortuguilla, who was murdered out in the on the land where Cop City sits. Also, we know that they've came up with all types of terrorist charges on the 61 different individuals.
That scared me. That scared me a lot. That scares me a lot, to be honest with you. To see organizers, presses charges of RICO is very frightening.
So with you, I'm gonna just straight up ask the question: are you for or against Cop City? Yeah. And what do you feel should be done? Should folks just accept this as an L?
I think I answered that part. I answered what should be done. What should be done is I think this juggernaut is here. I think it ain't a what should be done is or what I think is gonna happen. What I think is gonna happen is it's here. What I think is inconsequential at this point, because I think it's here. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's stoppable. So I think it's here. So the question becomes for me, how do I deal with it? It's not a question on if my lights get turned out. Now, my lights turned out. Do I have a lantern? Do I have a candle? What can I do to steal some power? from the light pole out front of my apartments. You understand what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
it's not a litmus test or it's might for or against. The thing is that nigga is here. So what do I think can happen now that nigga is here? And what do I think about training facilities in that my uncle was a firefighter, and I know for a fact that our firefighters in Atlanta, again, mostly black, they training in facilities that should be shut down, that could kill them. And a firefighter is working every day. Policemen riding around every day, but I can't tell you they working like a firefighter every day. I can't tell you they dealing with overdoses in the Bluff. I can't tell you they dealing with, heart attacks in Southwest Atlanta. I can't. So I have to at least support the idea that, okay, they deserve better training facilities. Our EMTs deserve better training facilities. I have to accept that, the good gonna come with the bad. So the city politicians gonna say, okay, by the way, y'all been asking for better training facilities. We got them now, and we're gonna not only gonna be able to train them, but we're gonna train police too, and we're gonna train them in military style tactics. I understand that is here. There's nothing I can do, or there's a lot that I can, I can pretend to do. I can do like other celebrities who out of LA who won't live in Atlanta, don't live in Atlanta, ain't gonna buy nothing in Atlanta. I can hold up a sign that say Stop Cop City, but is it gonna stop Cop City? And if Cop City is gonna come, what could I do to make sure that people on the ground who are organizing have power and say in policy past Cop City? Because if the Cop City thing is coming in terms of being a physical manifestation of a thing, if trees are gonna get cut down, buildings are gonna get built, how do we make sure that we have some say in the rules and regulatory systems that are going to be built around it? So that's about it. To be frank, I don't think I can stop Cop City. Okay. Michael Ringer. But what I do know is that I, in conjunction with other people that really give a shit, can affect policy in this city in terms of who we elect in terms of prosecutors and judges, who we elect in terms of mayors, and the culture of policing in terms of, are they going to be accountable to the public in a radically different way than other cities? That's what I feel like in the morning. I can wake up and help control. So that's what has me. Many of the people that are more radicalized, that are out there in the streets, that are marching, that are protesting, that are pushing, I've donated to many of their organizations. I've sent everything from water and juice to cash bail to help get them out. But it would be frivolous in my mind for me to be doing that at this time, when I still have to wake up and feed this woman and feed these children, and make sure that the endeavors that I participate in, that make sure that Black people in my side of town still have jobs and economic opportunity, educational opportunity. I'd be frivolous to go up, to be, in my mind, to go fight that giant that's not going to be defeated because it's already here, versus trying to alter the way that giant deals with the public. So, that's what I'm going to be doing.
No doubt. Final two questions. Number one,
and that's the only, and your show is the only place in the world I'm talking about that. So,
I already know.
And that's because you my brother. I love you. So anybody who say he's been silent on, I just didn't talk to y'all because I don't know y'all, and I don't like y'all and love y'all the way I like and love him. That's it. So Amen. You ain't gonna never get no answer from me because nigga, I don't like you.
You gonna get everybody banned. I want to ask you, do you see a future in politics? Because I know that
no.
I know that it's you've been on the cusp. Are there any candidates that you would see, pushing or running or whatever?
I would rather the people. I saw, no one's perfect, no politician's perfect, and political parties push the button on all. I remember talking to Sanders. He was coming from a meeting. We were in DC. He was like, man, when I got into politics, you really could make or affect change. I've been trying to do it my whole career. He said, now getting elected is turned into you just become a fundraiser. And you get elected and you spend your next 2 to 4 years of raising funds on behalf of the party and repeat process. And he talked about how disgusted he had become of that. So in terms of being a politician, I've always told people, for me to run for anything like city council, school board, I got to be rich. I got to be so rich I'm unbribable. So my people who know me know that my mind and mission is making sure that I build business, that I contribute to industry in this city, that I make sure that a Black working class and middle class can still exist through by being a job provider. I want to be like my boy T.I., who bought our old Kmart where we grew up and built 143 affordable housing units. My wife and I are doing similar. I want to be able to provide jobs like building Bankhead Seafood right now on Bankhead, so you ain't got to drive 40 minutes north to Buckhead or 20 minutes south to Camp Creek and take that dollar elsewhere. You can go right down the street from your home. You know, that's where I see my value. I want to be more like Herman Russell, to be honest with you. But I think that it is important that people like Maynard and Andy and Hosea Williams and people like Marvin Arrington, Senior and Junior, I think it's important that we have that in Atlanta. Politicians who are going to pick up the phone when you call and and get active when they see the proletariat getting active. So I'll continue to support people who come along who are passionate. For prosecutor, when Fonnie was running, there was a young brother named Christian Wise Smith, man. Christian did a hell of a job right there at the end at rallying up.
I think we might have had a Mike. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Not sure if you can hear me or not. We'll tap him back in if he could. Yeah. Let me see here. Okay, he may have froze. Yeah. So basically, I think we might have lost him. You know, hopefully he'll plug back in. I am checking out the chat. For those of you who are new to this platform, new to this program, let me advise you that I use RSTV and Black Power Media as a tool for propaganda. I bring on the guests, I speak to the guests, and I allow the guests to state their case. And you can make whatever decision that you would like to make based on that, right? Now, I saw a few people in the chat, you know, and you had what you had to say and so on and so forth. And, you know, I'm sure that you might not like us bringing on certain people on the platform and whatnot, and that's fine. Not a disclaimer, but hold on, I think we had his brother here. What's happening, brother? You back?
Kalaji.
Yes. Can you hear us?
Raise your hand if you can hear me.
We do.
All right, I'm sorry, your voice sounds a little dragged, but what I was saying was that I would rather be in a position to help Kalanji push forward. And I've decided that the best way for me to do that is to use the leverage that I have from being an entertainer and a businessman in this city, to use my money and my mouth and what comes out of my mouth as an opportunity to support organizations like Next Level Boys Academy and Gary Davis down on the South Side, to support the sister Christina and the people over there that with Georgia Youth Bill that are making sure our kids 14 to 24 get GEDs and get properly trained in trades and skills that people are going to have to hire them for. That's where I see my real power. In terms of me wanting political offices for reasons of vanity, no. Do I think political office changes everything? No. But having Black politicians has helped me more than hurt me in mine. So, you know, I'm hoping that I remember calling, you know, people remember I met with the governor, but they forget I campaigned my ass off on the behalf of Reverend Warnock. And they forget that, you know, that last minute surge that got him over, I was involved in that and heavily involved. Like, I went from everywhere to my mama's beauty shop to the Blue Flame saying, we got to get out and get this man in. When I heard the federal money made it all the way to Bowen Homes and is going to rebuild that community and have affordable housing, I knew I had done the right thing, you know, because that money might have went somewhere else. I remember Vincent Fort raising hell that when state of Georgia rolled out money for trade schools, they skipped over Atlanta. He brought $40 million here. When I supported Vincent Fort for mayor, before I supported Keisha Lance Bottoms, the rooms weren't always as full as I thought he deserved. So I think that everybody who listens to this has to go look in the mirror and say to themselves after this, beyond what Michael Render's done politically, what am I going to do? Sister Teslin Figueroa came here and taught 300 people how to run for office on the local level. Why we should have her here twice a year annually, teaching people how to do that. We should be running unorthodox candidates. You know, like the sister, God bless her soul, she challenged me to a rap battle. I can't remember her name, but the sister out of Athens with the afro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why she resigned from her post, but regardless how she feel or didn't feel about me, I supported her. And I wanted to see this sister stay in because we need radical voices. We need Cynthia McKinney in office. We need Abel Mabel Thomas in office. You know, Michael Rendo, smooth talking nigga who sing and dance for a living and got a lot of money finally. We might not need him, you know, but what we do need is him to support the people that are truly radical and are truly with the people and engaging on a daily basis. And I'll be there. And one day I'm gonna retire from rapping, and something on the news is gonna piss me off, and I'm gonna run for a local office. I'm gonna run for school board member or something. But I don't have any grand ambitions of being a political darling and having people kiss my ass because they think somehow I make Black people look more respectable. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to raise hell and make sure Black people get some piece of the pie and have an opportunity at having the human dream of having just safe, normal, regular lives, which we call the American dream. I just want to see Black folks just be able to have some normalcy before they get off this earth. And you know, the most beautiful thing, I went to Matula Shakur's memorial. I flew home to get to it. And Sister Taj, who's an EMT, works at the fire department. Sister Taj let the family know I was coming, and when I came, there were all these pictures, Kalanji, of him as a young man, as a young warrior, right? The romanticized pictures we wear on our T-shirts. But man, what brought me to tears in there when I walked in the corner by myself and cried is that, man, he got a chance to be with his grandchildren.
Right.
He just a lot of people don't understand the shit that Kalanji's doing, the life that he's given up for us. Man, he's a grandfather. He's a father. He's a man to a woman, has been a husband to a wife. So I would just like to, in my lifetime, be a part of something that creates a sense of normalcy in which Black people just get to be regular human beings. And that's what I got, you know. So if me having to run for office helps that, then maybe one day. But as of right now, man, I just like to support those that are doing the work in the best way I can.
No doubt. And shout out to our Sister Taj, who's been a...
Oh, man, listen, look, the thing talking, so I can't even understand what you're saying. It sounds like a screwed up Click album right now, man. Like you chopped and screwed, but I think that was the last question. And I love you, brother. And even them brothers I tease and talk shit, well, y'all ain't really no niggas. Y'all some NGUSs. Y'all some niggas. And I love y'all. I'm still not gonna rock with y'all on y'all show because y'all lame. But I want to see you win.
No doubt, no doubt. We appreciate you. Salute for the work.
Love you, and I appreciate you as well.
Yes, sir, brother. Be safe out there. Checking out, that was Killer Mike, aka or Michael Render, aka Killer Mike. We appreciate him coming on, joining us today. Last minute, supporting what it is we do. Again, we've had plenty of guests on. Some you agree with, some you disagree with. Can y'all hear me pretty good out there? Throw a fist up in the chat if you can hear what I'm saying. And no, he didn't call BPM lame. No, I'm on BPM. Can y'all hear me? Fists up, anybody? Am I clear? Okay, cool. Yeah, so getting back to business, I appreciate him coming through regardless of whatever his politic is, right? Again, for folks who tapped in late, Dr. Cornell West's interview we'll be rescheduling. Of course, we will talk more with him about what's going on. Of course, Cornell's been on the platform several different times. I did reach out to, for folks who are late, I reached out to Killer Mike because I wanted to have him and Cornell at the same time and to talk about politics, so on and so forth, and what's going on musically. Again, I've been knowing the brother for years. I don't necessarily subscribe to, all of his politics. I think he's sincere when it comes to Black people. I think that, it is what it is. I mean, of course, we're all not going to agree. I do see some people who are disappointed in the chat. Some of you, Jason Rivers, I see you've been saying it was a terrible interview the whole time. It's an exit sign. You could have hopped on if you ain't really did what I had to say, my man. You know what I mean? So I just want you to know that part. I bring on different types of individuals because I'm interested in you all hearing from the horse's mouth. Not too many places you're going to go and you're going to talk to, have Mumia on, and then maybe a T.I. or a Brother J from X Clan, and then a whoever else. As an interviewer, my job is to be objective, not subjective. You understand what I'm saying? So my job is to bring to you the people and allow you to make whatever judgment or decision you want to make based on how you feel. That's neither here nor there. I appreciate you all for checking out what we're doing, and I'm sure you'll stick with us, because the truth is, when it comes to Black people, when it comes to African, when it comes to colonized people, you're not going to find too many platforms like BPM. Most of you had no idea that we would have any guests on once I said Dr. Cornell was on. And I see someone ask me, am I an interviewer or a revolutionary? I'm a freedom fighter first. Let's be clear about that. But I know how to utilize tools of propaganda. So to some of you, you may accept it, and some of you may reject it. That's all the way good, however you want to feel about it. I thank you all for checking us out regardless. Continue to support our work. I want to shout out my daughter, whose born date is today. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to my daughter, Kalisa. Continue to check out what's going on the platform. Continue to do what it is we do. I don't know who All Power to the People is saying is a fork-tongue activist. I know you ain't talking to me, so I'm not even worried about that. That's just going to whoever is listening. But I appreciate, you all supporting what it is we do. Black Power Media forever. We're going to keep on moving. We have some real heavyweights coming on board in the next week or so. I have a few different guests that are lined up. Again, I'm not always going to bring you who you like, but I'm going to bring you who you need. We need perspective. You know what I mean? When you go to a network or you go to a channel, you don't always see who you want to see. You understand what I'm saying? You don't always see who you want to see. So, it is what it is. But anyway, we appreciate you. Stay tuned to Black Power Media. Continue to support our work, our efforts, and our energy, and we're going to continue to support you. Stay strong. Stay on the right side of history. RSTV, we out.
Mercy.
Ancestor,
Ancestor,
take my hand.
ancestor,
Lead me on.
ancestor,
Let me stand.
ancestor,
I get tired.
ancestor,
I get weak.
I get weak.
Knows I get warm.
Ancestor,
Through the storm.
ancestor,
Through the night.
ancestor,
Lead me on.
ancestor,
Through the light.
ancestor, take my hand. Ancestors, and lead me on.
In my way grows drip. Ancestors, please linger near. When my light is almost gone, hear my cry, hear my call. Take my hand, let's not fall.
Take my hand. Ancestors, and lead me on.
ancestors and lead me on.
Familo Wosoke, Kinlek Belga. I am that which walks with you through the torrential rains of life without getting wet. I am that which walks with you through the firestorm within, yet fire cannot burn me. I am that which walks with you